So
guys
just
are live now.
oh, okay. Just to go over kind of the ground rules for this evening and what will occur is that we will hear testimony from the involved parties. Can correct me if I'm incorrect, but first we'll hear from the town's witnesses, and then we'll hear from Mr. Esteban, or Mr. Ortiz, and then any other parties providing testimony. Everybody's expected to conduct themselves civilly. All testimony will be given under oath, and you're expected to address the chair. Did I cover everything?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so if we, I think the order we'll hear from first is Chief Gill. You could raise your right hand. I swear that the testimony I'm about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, nothing but the truth.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes.
Hi.
Okay.
How are you?
How does this work? Is it full of mine, or do you, how do we do that? How do we start this?
I think if you want to go ahead and give us what led us to this
Sure.
hearing, and then we'll ask questions. That's
Perfect. My name's Chief Brian Gill with the Ayer Police Department. Unfortunately, we're here tonight for what I believe is a very serious incident that happened on Saturday, July 13th, where three people who were in a certain area were bitten by one dog. We had two civilians, and one of my officers was bitten twice, to the point where he's been out of work since shortly thereafter. Sought medical treatment shortly thereafter, and he's been out trying to get his wounds healed so we can get back to work. What we had was we had a call to dispatch for an individual that was bitten on the hand, and Officer Scott and the animal control were dispatched to the area of Lazy Mary's on Littleton Road, and from there they met with the victim, and they learned that there were two dogs, two Rottweilers, one with a collar, that was in the area, and one of the dogs had jumped into the car. The woman also went into the car to figure what was going on, and got bitten on the hand, to the point where blood was drawn, and she had to get it wrapped up, and was seen by the ambulance crew, and I'm unsure if she sought medical care after that, any further medical care. Once the officer arrived, he learned that the dogs had left the area, but then they were alerted that the dogs had gone to a neighborhood behind Lazy Mary's, down at the Old Town Village. He went down there, and I believe the animal control officer, Julie Thomas, had arrived, and they went down there and found that people were feeding the dog, and the dog appeared to be friendly. So what the plan was to take the dog, put them in the cars, and bring them to where they thought that they resided, which was in one of the other adjacent neighborhoods. When Officer Scott reached down to grab the collar, the dog had bitten Officer Scott on the inner thigh, to the point where he went to draw his taser, and when he went to make the move to his taser, the dog had then bitten into his upper bicep area. There are some pictures that we do have there. Some of them are graphic. I'm not sure if we'll be presenting them or not. But it is clear that it's a dog bite. The canine, the fangs of the dog penetrated and drew blood. One of them actually had a slight tearing wound to it that they were reluctant to suture because they wanted the wound to drain. But anyway, the investigation ensued. The dogs, once the second bite happened on Casey Scott, the dog went into his car, And that's important because it's the MO of this dog, that they go into a car. And the history of these dogs, I'll let the animal control Julie Thomas explain. But on a previous bite incident, this same thing happened. So the dog went into the car. They took the dogs to where they thought it belonged. We had some trouble, and by now I had been called. This was about 4 o'clock. I had been called, had responded to the area to check on Casey and to assist any way that I could. We did get the owner finally their attention. I believe he works the overnight shift, so he was sleeping and didn't know the dogs had gotten out of their yard. But while I was out there, I had the opportunity to talk to some neighbors, and the neighbors had said that this was a common occurrence, that the dogs got out. That even just that morning, the dogs had gotten out and had made a move towards their dog. Not the person I was talking to, but her husband had grabbed the dog, and they were able to go inside without any further incident other than the dog being outside and trying to attack their dog. We eventually talked to Esteban Ortiz, the owner of the dogs, and again was unaware that the dogs had gotten out. Explained that something had happened where the rear door was left open by another family member, and the dogs were just out. We explained to Mr. Ortiz what had happened. That he had bitten what we knew at this time was 2 people, and that one of them was an officer who was trying to help. Apologetic. The animal control officer told Mr. Ortiz that the animal would have to be quarantined, and our concern was that with Julie's knowledge of the history of these dogs, that these dogs had gotten out on multiple occasions, more than multiple, several, that she was going to, that we were going to require that the dogs be muzzled even when they went in the backyard. That because we felt that they couldn't guarantee that these dogs wouldn't stay in the backyard, they would find a way to escape and go after another person. The dog was placed in a 10-day quarantine, and it subsequently, they more or less abided by it. There was one slight issue when the animal control went to end the 10-day quarantine, and it has to be done by a physical visit. The dogs were found outside, and Rocco did not have a muzzle on. It was we'll call that an oversight, that Mr. Ortiz thought it was the end of the quarantine and that it would be okay. I'm not sure if it's an oversight, but it's just a piece of information that I think everybody should be aware of as we try to figure out how to go about finalizing this.
Mr. Chair, can
Yes.
I just ask a clarifying
Yeah,
question on that
absolutely.
very last point? When the dog was out, was it in the yard? Or
It was in the fenced-in backyard.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But one of the things that we told him was, because they couldn't guarantee it would stay in that back fenced-in yard, that even when it went outside there, it would have to be quarantined, because the dog gets out of that backyard. During the course of the investigation, we found that there was a 3rd person that was bitten that day. And it turns out it was actually the 1st person that was bitten that day. It was Mr. Jonathan Williams, who is here tonight. He would be living in the neighborhood where these dogs are, where they live. He saw the dogs, attempted to get them to help them not go into the road, Route 2A. And when he, I'm not exactly sure how the interaction happened. I don't know if he was trying to help grab the dog's collar, or if he was trying to feed him. but the dog ended up biting him on the hand. And we did speak to him a couple days later, and he showed us the healing wound that he had on his hand. The one last piece of information that we found that also during this course of the investigation was that this incident happened the end of on July 31st. On July 19th, the rabies certificate had expired.
Quick clarifying question.
Sure.
I actually have two clarifying questions. One, is it the dog with the collar that's doing the biting?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make
Yes.
sure about that. And you just said there was something that happened on July 31st, but I thought you started that this happened on July 13th, so I'm a little
It was
confused
just
with the
a
dates.
he misspoke in the.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, July 31st, if I said 13th.
Okay, so, all right, thank you.
That's kind of it in a nutshell. We do have several other incidents prior to this where the dogs have been out. They've gotten out. I'll let Julie talk to those. She knows those more in depth. But one of the things I would like to talk about in the previous escapes of the dogs was at one point they ended up on Route 2. And while they were out on Route 2, a passerby was concerned for the safety of the dogs. They had, the woman had gone out to try and coax the dogs out of the roadway and into the car using food, I believe. The dog hopped into the car, and when the woman went in, the dog bit her at that point. So there seems to be an MO with this dog, Rocco. It doesn't appear that Bella has at least to our knowledge, been the one that have bitten anybody, but they both escaped together. So I guess one is more of a danger, the other, and then both of them are a nuisance when they get out.
And do you know the date that the Route 2 incident?
I believe it's going to be November 2020.
Yeah, November 14th. That sound right?
November 14th, yes.
Okay.
And, Mr. Chair, Route 2 from their residence is about how far?
It is,
Almost 3 miles.
yeah, I was going to say
Almost
over
3
2 miles, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Chief Gill, you mentioned you talked to some of the neighbors and discussed an incident in which Rocco went after another dog. Did you get any feedback whether Rocco had gone towards any other people without either being approached or without another dog present?
No, not, they just talked about that one incident that morning.
And to the best of your knowledge, these, I guess, 4 biting incidents are the only ones that were reported, correct?
As far as it had been reported to us, yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
On the Route 2 incident, do you have any understanding of the severity of the bite that the individual received?
She said it was not very severe,
Okay.
biting.
Any other questions for Chief?
No.
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So just as a point of clarity, Chief, how many biting incidents do you have?
For, on the 31st, we have 3.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. And then 1 in November.
November of
Gotcha,
2000.
okay, correct.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief.
I think next we'll go with the better road.
The animal control officer.
Okay, all right. Julie, Thompson. Can you raise your right hand? I swear the testimony I'm about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If you could just state your name and
My
position.
name is Julie Thomas, Animal Control from Ayer, and I'd like to explain the history of the two dogs. In June 23rd, it was the first time I met them. They were brought to Ayer Medical by a girl who saw them out and they jumped in her car and she wanted to see if she could drive around and find owners. And decided to bring them to the vet to see if they can scan them.
I'm sorry, just June 23rd of this year or?
20.
Of 20, okay, thank you.
I had not seen the dog before. I went to open the door to see if I can scan them, and I was greeted by brushing and growling, and he snapped at me, so I didn't want to do that. We waited for a while to figure out what we're gonna do, if the veterinarian can come out, maybe give him a shot of something to calm him down. But in that time frame, owners had called the station to say that they were missing their dogs, so we found the owners. They came and picked them up. It was the first incident that had happened, so I gave them a verbal warning, explained, you know, it could have been a lot worse than this, and that the importance of the incident, that, you know, somebody could have gotten hurt. They need to fix the fence, the problem at hand to get, that the dogs can't get out.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Could I just ask a couple questions
Yep,
before we move
absolutely.
on? So, Ms. Thomas, might that first incident been in October of 2020?
I did write October on
Yeah.
there, but I reread my notes and it was,
June.
yeah.
Okay, so the report
Is
hasn't
incorrect.
covered. Okay, no, that's fine. And if we could just, before we start getting into too much of the detail of the incidents themselves, I was just wondering if you could just describe the dogs, how old they are, male, female, fixed, not fixed.
Rocco is a
Mhm.
male.
Okay.
I believe he's 5. Bella is a female, and I don't recall her age. I can look it up.
And have they, do you know when they were first licensed in Ayer?
20,
In 2020?
yeah,
Okay.
that I know of.
All right. Was that before or after the June 2020 incident?
It was after, because they needed to get, one of them was licensed, one was not. One that was not, I believe, was Rocco, or Bella, I can't remember now. Because it had to get new rabies shots, so they were behind on that.
And do you know the approximate size of these dogs? Are they around
They're
the same
big, they're
size?
like
Yeah.
130 pounds, something like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, if it pleases the chair, you can then now go back to your
Okay.
narrative.
So the dog just jumped in the car and she brought him down, and they took him home. And then I didn't have another incident until November, November 14th, when they were on Route 2. So I knew sounded like I knew who they were. So I immediately called the owners. They said they were out looking for them. When I found out they were Route 2, I told them that's where they were last seen, so they went down there and got their dogs. In the meantime, the state police had picked up the dogs and had them on the Harvard exit, waiting for the owners to pick them up. January 31st, I got a call saying the dogs were out by a postal worker. I cited them with a citation of unleashed. April 17th, same thing, out running around, found at Jarvis Ford. June 12th, 21. Again, they were out running loose. Somebody was walking their dog and they ran up to them aggressively, but nobody got hurt. And then
Sorry.
July 31st.
So could you just review with each of these citations, when you were given the citation, what was the reasoning why the dogs were able to get out and get loose?
Because the
if-
door was open, the kids leave the door open. They one time got a hole in the fence, so each time he said he worked on the fence and rebuilt it. And I think that's when he, I'm not sure, he just kept fixing the fence. And then they put a chain link fence in the back, and sometimes they dig under that.
And then one other question just about the state police, when they picked up the dogs. To get them in their car, did the police say it required any, like, did the dogs just get in the police vehicle willingly?
Honestly, I
or-
don't know. I
Okay.
was never able to speak to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So, the dogs getting out have been escalating, and I need the owners to know and be aware, to understand the importance of Rocco's aggressive behavior. It's dangerous, and their lack of control to keep the dog at home. In my opinion, I think Bella and Rocco need to be safely secured on their property for the safety of all the citizens. And I think that Rocco should be muzzled every time he's outside. And if he's not in the pen, he should be muzzled and on a leash in the backyard by someone who can control the dog, who's strong enough.
Janice or Scott, any questions, follow?
Has Bella shown any aggression?
I've never seen it.
Okay. So Bella just kind of like
Follows
follows
Rocco.
along? And have either dog been fixed?
I don't know that answer. I'd have to look it up.
Because sometimes that helps keep them home
Yeah.
too, so, okay, thank you.
Scott?
Yeah. Looking at the list of citations, so as a matter of 7-8 months, there were 4 citations issued. Is there any accumulation of penalties on, like, for example, if you get one one citation is, like 1 strike,
Right.
working your way
And
up?
state law does require that, but bylaws do not.
Okay.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Have all the citations been paid?
They have been paid to my knowledge. I'm not sure about the last one that the others have.
And are those, do you know what the amounts of the citations are
It's $15 per dog.
per incident?
So I'm just afraid that somebody else is going to get bit. It could be very serious. I don't trust Rocco out there.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if I could, so Ms. Thomas, you wrote a report of your involvement in the matter.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that error of saying October 20th in 2020 instead of June 2020, does that report fully and accurately describe your involvement in the matter?
Yes.
Okay. And for the record, the members of the board have that report in
Yes.
their file. And so, Ms. Thomas, could you just give the board a little bit of your sort of background and education and training in animal control and dog behavior?
It's through MAP training. It's part of the state that requires you to take so many classes in animal behavior, and every year you have to have 16 credit courses. So I've taken the ACOM, which is a big week class of classes, and then each year I could take others.
And how long have you been an animal control officer?
It's the 5th year.
Okay. And in your experience, would you consider Rocco to be a dangerous dog, as that term is used?
I think he's dangerous because he just turns like that, and he'll just charge after you, lunge towards you. So yes, I do.
And so your recommendations are to have additional security to ensure that he doesn't get out, but if he gets out, it's likely that he's gonna bite somebody.
Most likely,
And,
because people are gonna reach for him and then, or even I wouldn't even wanna reach for him.
I mean, and do you think that this is something that can be cured or mitigated through training?
Well, I wondered, because his age is, they say once you bite, you always bite, and maybe that could help, but I'm not really sure that it would, because he's an older dog.
And in your conversations with the owner, I mean, I'll be a little bit blunt, but do you think he gets it at this point?
He seemed to get it
Mhm.
when I was talking to him, like he wanted to fix the fence and things, but sometimes I feel like maybe, there's not enough, I'm thinking the word. I don't think it's really, he gets it, because the dog keeps getting out, and there's no continual, you know what I mean?
And do you know how many other people live in the house with the dogs?
I think there's 2 boys that live there, and Marguerite and Mark Esteban. I don't know if there's other.
Are
I
the
don't know if
boys
there's
children or
Younger,
Yeah.
teenagers.
teenagers? Okay. And the fenced-in yard, is it just their yard or is it part
It's
of
their
the-
yard, it's a
Okay.
stockade fence, and then
Yeah.
they also have a chain link fence inside of the stockade fence.
Okay. And did these incidents happen after the chain link fence went up? Do you know? Yeah, okay. I don't think I have anything further. Members of the board?
Jens, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, so in your opinion, the cause and effect is not being understood. You know, so, you know, dog gets loose, jumps into car, bites person. You know, it's the effect, the cause being the dog got loose. And of course, the scenario could be, you know, the dog jumps into a car and there's a child in the car.
Yeah.
Which, you know, this is definitely, but does Bella jump into cars? Bella doesn't seem
Well,
to
they
wanna jump
follow
in a
each
car.
other.
So Bella will jump in if Rocco's jumped in first?
Well, that's not necessarily true, because when Casey Scott was opening the door, eventually he came in, hopped in, Bella wouldn't go in. But they seem like when that girl who took him to the thing, they both jumped in.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. Just to kind of remark upon the training, I don't necessarily buy into the dog can't be trained because Michael Vick's dogs. Okay, so I do think that there is a possibility of training, just be part of the conversation. But also, I am concerned that in this case it might not take effect. But again, I'm throwing it out as part of the conversation. You know, so. Okay.
Do you have anything?
I do have a couple questions here, go
I
ahead.
just have one. I know you said that in your first encounter with the dogs at the clinic, that when you tried to scan them, they were aggressive with you.
Yeah, I
How
couldn't
about-
get me, when I opened the door, they just started growling at me, and then tried to nip.
Was that even before you reached into the car?
Yeah.
Okay.
And how about your other interactions? How have they behaved towards you?
Well, I think I haven't really had that many interactions, because they've always come to get them. But I would not want to put them in my car.
And how about when you went, the day you went to end the quarantine to see them? How did they interact?
Well, they were outside, like I said, and they were just barking at the door. So, but when Esteban was there and he calmed him down, then I was able to pet him.
Which, I'm sorry, it kind of notes that there could be some training, that dog's had some training if the owner's there and the dog calms down. So, you know, now I'm getting kind of a mixed message here as to what this dog is doing and why, you know?
That's good.
Julie, can you describe how big the backyard is and how tall the fences are?
Well, it's a 6-foot stockade fence, and how big it is,
Ballpark it.
I don't know,
The size of this room?
They're
how-
bigger than this room.
Bigger than, okay. After the incident on the 31st, you put the dogs into quarantine. What are the requirements of quarantine? for the
Requirements
dogs?
are that they have to stay on their property, in their home, and they can't interact with any other dogs and on a leash whenever they're outside.
And it was stated earlier that you added that they had to be muzzled also.
I added a real strict,
Okay.
asked them to have them muzzled. Esteban only handled the dogs because he's strong. Because I think the kids probably couldn't hold him back. I think I probably couldn't. So, yeah, I asked that he would be the one that brought them out.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions, Ms. Thomas? Very, very good.
No, not at this time.
Okay,
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next for the town, we're going to hear from Officer Casey, or Officer Scott. Hi, can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give, I am about to give is the, in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Casey Scott, I'm a police officer with the town of Ayer. On July 31st, I responded to Lazy Mary's for a report of 2 dogs that were loose and 1 dog had bit somebody else. When I got to the area, I didn't find anyone, no dogs, no anybody that was injured, until I went in to speak with an employee from Lazy Mary's who told me that there was somebody who worked at Gage Cannabis, and they already walked over there. I responded over to Gage with the animal control officer and tried to speak with the person who got bit. We were able to speak with her. She had a bandage on her right hand, I believe, on her right hand. And she didn't want medical treatment at that time. And during that time, I got another call for 2 dogs that were in the Old Town Village area. I responded down there, and I saw a group of people. There's some kids outside, and they were feeding the dogs chips and had a bucket full of water. And the dogs were just eating the food and drinking the water, just walking around. Then when I was there, the dogs just started walking around. The one with the collar came up to me, and I believe the animal control officer already had the other dog on a leash. And when I went to go reach down, because he had a collar, I started growling and bit my upper thigh and my left leg. So once he started biting me, I went to go get my taser out, and as soon as I moved to get the taser, he launched up at my right arm. I was able to get the taser out, and as soon as I got the taser out, the dog just stopped and walked away from me. The animal control officer had the other dog. She was walking towards the cars, and the other dog followed. And once we got to the cruiser, I just opened the back of my car, and the dog jumped in the back of my car. I shut the door so nobody else would get bit.
Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Officer Scott, did you write a report regarding this incident?
Yes, I did.
And does that report truly and accurately and fully describe your involvement in the incident?
Yeah.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, members of the board have copies of this report as well.
Yes, so, go ahead.
So I just, a curious question, when you went to like maybe pet the dog, how did you put your hand? You know, was it more like this? Was it more like this? I'm just trying to figure out.
I honestly don't remember. I think I just
Okay.
went to go grab the collar because he was right next to me. So
Okay.
I just went, and she already had the other dog, so I just tried to hold it and walk it to my car. I believe it was underneath when I went down just to go underneath the collar just to grab it.
Mhm.
And went off.
I was just kind of curious, I'm trying to picture this whole,
But you, prior to this incident, were you aware of these dogs?
No, I wasn't. I've never dealt with these dogs before. This was my first encounter with the dogs, so like I said, when I got there, they appeared fine. They were just walking around, eating food and drinking the water, walking around everybody that was outside, and he walked around me, and then just came up to me again, and then that was when I went to go grab him, and he bit my leg and my arm.
how was Bella's behavior?
She was fine. She was doing the same thing, just walking around. She didn't growl at all. And when I got bit, I don't think she did anything.
Okay, so she didn't go to help Rocco either?
No.
Okay.
No, she seemed fine.
Okay. So she might have just been out for a stroll,
Yeah,
while
just
Rocco was out for
wandering
something
around.
different and Bella was out for a stroll.
Yeah.
And when you arrived at where the dogs were, and you said people were feeding them, were they also, the dogs allowing the kids to pet them? That you observed?
When I got there, I told them just to stay away because we had a report that somebody was already bit by one of the dogs. So once nobody went near them, but the dogs, they were still outside. They would just walk around people. So I believe one of the children was being held anyways too. So.
And did you happen to ask if they knew the dogs, like if they were familiar with them, if they've seen them, like if the
Yeah,
dogs had
they-
got out before and they?
I don't think they've ever seen them
Okay.
before.
And understand, so can you just discuss the injuries a little bit more that you sustained?
Yeah,
and-
so that's it was my upper left thigh and my groin area. I had a large bruise and a minor scratch there. And then on my right bicep I had, you can see the teeth marks in my arm. There's one that was torn open. And a few days later there was a large bruise there also. There's pain in my bicep when I moved my arm. And I have a lump in my arm right now, so I'm trying to go get that looked at and see what that is and if it's gonna be removed or not. So
And then, I know Chief Gill already testified to it, but have you been able to return to work since then?
I have not yet.
And did you have to get a rabies test?
So that was the chief called me when he found out about the rabies. I told my doctor about that, and there was a question about the quarantine, and since it was so far after the incident,
Okay.
so he said I might have to get the shots, but depending on the quarantine and if that was legit or whatever, I might not have to go. So I'm still trying to figure that out.
Scott or Janice, anything?
Yeah, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Great. Did you have any?
No, nothing from.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is that it for the town?
I think, is Mr. Williams here? Would you mind, do you mind, Mr.
Yep,
Chair?
absolutely. Mr. Williams, if you could just raise your right hand. I swear the testimony I am about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. If you go ahead and take a seat, and if you just state your name and your address.
Jonathan Williams, 5 Willard Street, there.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Williams. If you don't mind, would you please give us an account of your experience with the dogs on July 31st, 2021?
So, I was out back, I have a little garden I was tending. I came in to get water. When I came out, the dogs were in the backyard. So I didn't really know what to do. I just walked down my stairs and they came running over. They seemed really friendly. I let them smell my hand, you know, thing you do with dogs. And they were fine. They seemed really playful. I had a extra container, so I put the water in for the dogs. And as the officer said, I just kind of just wanted to focus on keeping them out of the road, busy street. And I realized one of them had a collar, so I thought I might be able to get some information to call somebody. I reached for the collar, and that's where I get a little bite.
Was this the first time that you had seen the dogs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Through you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Can you describe the bite in a little bit more detail?
Well, this is it. It was, I don't really know how it happened. It was so fast. I just reached for the collar and then I had a bite.
And were you bleeding?
Yeah. Yeah, it was some blood.
And then what happened after that?
So I went in to wash everything and get a Band-Aid. And the woman from across the street came over knocking on my door thinking they were my dogs. And she told me that they also got a bite and they were going to contact whoever
And
they
so
needed
just,
to.
what did the dog do after it bit you?
I don't even know. I just said, get away, get away, get away. Yelled at him. And then went inside.
Just to clarify, you said that your neighbor, the woman across the street,
Yeah.
was also bitten on this day.
The one from Lazy Mary.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, the one we already
Sorry.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We thought there was an extra.
Yeah, no. Sorry about that.
And so once after, and you said just go away, the dogs ran off out of your yard.
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah.
Okay.
And do you know where Atherton Street is in relation to where you live?
I think so. I think it's a few streets down.
Okay. Do you know like how far distance wise?
Oh, maybe a mile? Probably not even a mile.
And had you ever seen these dogs before?
No.
Have you ever seen them since?
I know I have.
Scott or Janice, any other questions?
Do you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. So when you were bitten, did you report that to the police at that point in time?
No, I didn't.
Did you have to seek any medical treatment?
No.
Or you just took care of it yourself?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Does anybody have any other questions?
No other questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, is Kalia Paquette here? And I don't, I guess if we could just ask Mr. Chair through you, does anyone else here have any incidents with these dogs that they wish to speak about?
Okay. Not seeing anybody, that will conclude our portion for the town. And we'll move on, and I'd like to invite up Mr. Esteban Ortiz. Good evening, Mr. Ortiz. You could raise your right hand. The testimony I am about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, please have a seat. Mr. Ortiz, if we could start, if you could give us an account of what occurred on this day, to the best of your understanding.
Which day are we talking about, the
I'm sorry.
31st?
Yes, July 31st.
Well, as the gentleman said in the, Julie, I was sleeping, I worked third shift with the disabled up in Templeton, and I got home, I was sleeping, and apparently they were knocking on the door because the dogs had gotten out. But earlier during the day, when this all started in the beginning, I took in with Julie's, letting me know that the dogs got out several times. Because they got out several times, I took it upon myself to put a 48-inch chain link fence, 12 by 20 area, which they cannot get out of, and they have not gotten out of, in the backyard adjacent to my enclosed porch. On the 31st, I did put up the stockade 6-foot fence on either side of the house. And apparently I got 3 boys, 12, 11, and 8. And, you know, of course, they're not as cautious of the dogs as we are, the adults. And I tell them every time when you're taking something out of the backyard, please lock the gates, so on and so forth. On this particular day, the 6-foot stockade fence went up. I left the sliding glass door in the back open, which the backyard is approximately 90 by 100 square feet. And they had the run of the yard at one point, but because they got out of the backyard one time and the incident where they talked about Route 2, we just kind of, I took it upon myself because of Julie to make the enclosed 48-inch high fenced-in area, 12 by 20, and we've been keeping them in there. They go and, you know, play in there unless I'm in the yard, you know, then I have them. So apparently they got out on this day here, and they were banging on the door, and they made me aware that the officer did get bit, that they got out. The officer got bit, and Julie and the officer, the chief said that, you know, someone else had gotten bit. I apologize. They told me I had to quarantine them. At that time, I thought they were referring to finding placement for them, so I called MSPCA. It was closed. And then the chief walked in with Julie, and they seen that I had 2 kennels, the crates, and the yard where they, you know, usually go in. And the chief said that it was fine, that they could be quarantined there for the 10 days. That's where they were quarantined. I did get the muzzle. We did have the muzzle. I just never put it on them because I've never had the problems with the dogs. You know, I have kids in and out of my backyard because of my 3 boys. They all have friends. We have a swimming pool, so my house is consistently full of, you know, friends of theirs. So I don't, you know, really, and they play with the dogs. So, you know, unfortunately on this day that this happened, you know, it's just one of them incidents where, you know, unfortunately it happened, and I'm sorry that it did happen to the officer and to the gentleman that did get bit by Rocco. They are good dogs. Bella's never bit anybody. I've done everything possible to, you know, keep them in the yard. I do walk them myself because Rocco is a strong. He's a 110-pound Rottweiler. Bella's 109 pounds, and she's a female. Rocco's going to be 4. Bella's 3 years old. They're good dogs. They're trainable dogs. Unfortunately, like I said, you know, these instances did happen, and again, I am apologetic for them. You know, and my wife and I, you know, we're doing everything in our powers to make sure that it doesn't happen again. You know, and you know, abide by whatever regulations we need to abide by. So.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Can you just describe the setup with the pen and the backyard? So you said you have a slider.
Yes, I have it's like a 3-season porch in the back house, in the back of the yard, the house, and we have 2 sliders.
Okay.
One now goes to the kennel that I built. It's almost 12 by 20.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't. It's a chain link fence. They can't. They're only one way in, one way out. That's when we let them out and we bring them back into the same area.
So does the sliding door open directly into the pen?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. What you have is it's a.
Can we draw a picture so we can?
No, not a problem.
Sometimes it's a little easier to figure out.
So what it is, it's we got my kitchen here, and then the porch is like this. We have a slider here,
Okay.
and they go out to a 12 by 20 area here.
Okay.
And this is chain link fence. This is the house.
Yeah.
And then you have another slider here, and then this is the backyard. Like I said, it's a 100 by 90 square feet backyard. And you know, when I'm there, they have the run of the backyard because I know where they are and I watch them. There's a gate here in the front where there's the driveway, and that's where I bring out the lawnmower, the snow blower. The kids bring their bikes in and out. The friends come in and out that way, as well as through here. So if, on this particular day, I left the slider open, thinking that the dogs were in in their crates, and they happened to get out, and that's when I got the phone call that,
Okay. And is the whole yard
fenced in, yes.
enclosed by the
Yes.
stockade fence?
Yes,
Okay.
we have a chain link fence on my neighbor's side, and then my backyard, and Thelma, my adjacent neighbor, is a 6 foot high, 8 foot wide stockade fence going all around the yard, yes.
And the pen doesn't have any gates?
The pen does
Right.
not have any gates, no.
Okay. And does the stockade fence currently have any holes in it?
There was a hole in the back where, Rocco did get out through the swimming pool, but again, there's, on that area, they don't get to because there's 2 gates. That have the shed for the pool and all the pool stuff, so we try to keep them in the main yard or in their yard, which is what we've been using for the dogs, the crate, the 12 by 20 area.
Okay. And what is the floor of the 20?
It's dirt.
It's dirt, okay.
Yeah.
And does the fence go like under the ground at all?
Yes, it's buried. I have cement poles buried 3 feet. They're a little higher than 48 foot. They're cemented with cement, concrete, and actually I have pallets adjacent to the fence as well,
Mhm.
so they can't get out.
But so does the chain link though, like extend under the ground so they can't dig?
It goes right to the ground. I mean, they dig, but you can see where they do dig, you know, but they're not getting out.
Yeah.
And if they were to get out of the chain link part,
Then
there would
now
still be
they
the
have-
stockade
They have another stockade fence in the backyard as well.
on all sides?
Yes.
Okay. So-
So on the night of, or on July 31st, you had both the stockade fence and the chain link fence in place at that point in time?
Yes.
Did-
Yep.
Okay. You said that there was a hole in the stockade fence near the pool, which you believe Rocco had gotten out previously for the incident.
Yes.
For Route 2. There were 4 other citations from Julie's, or sorry, 5 if you include Julie's first encounter, which was a verbal warning, before the 31st. Did they keep getting out that same hole?
That same hole, yes.
Is that-
They kept digging it up. So there is a little, well, I built them a doghouse there because at one point we used to keep the dogs in the back there. And that's where they started digging till, you know, the repetitive nature of the dogs to get out that way. I fenced in the area, so they can't get to that area at all. So even if they were to get out now, they just end up in the backyard. And of course, there's a fence all the way around, so.
Okay, thank you.
Is it okay to ask somebody who's already been sworn in a question? Well,
I'm sorry?
during this testimony, I just wanted to ask Ms. Thompson,
Oh, yeah.
just because there's not a time here, and Mr. Williams is gone, what time did his incident occur?
Which,
Mr. Williams, what time of day was it that he was bitten?
it was close to 4 o'clock.
Okay, so around the same time, okay. That's,
So, Mr. Chair, if I could ask through you, so when you're working or sleeping or not available, who's in charge of the dogs? in the
My
house?
wife is in charge.
And just to follow up on that, where was your wife on this day when the dogs got out?
I think she was at her mother's house. She has a ill grandmother in Haverhills, and she also attends to her.
And if I could again through you, Mr. Chair, so you've heard the testimony of people here,
Yes.
and, you know, the dog has bitten 4 people, and
Mhm.
they're pretty severe bites, I mean, how do you explain that behavior?
I can't explain it. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends. Like any dog, it depends on the mannerisms in which you go after the dog. Because, like I said, I've never had any issues with the dogs. I've had a backyard full of kids. I've taken them to, you know, multiple places, and I've never had a problem where there's been other dogs, other people. You know, I know that there's been times where I've reached for a dog in Petco and gotten the growling as well. You know, I can't explain how, you know.
Have you ever observed the dog acting that way?
No. And I've owned 7 Rottweilers.
Right, but this particular
No.
dog? Yeah. And, have you owned these 2 dogs their whole life?
Yes, yeah,
Okay. In Ayer?
yes.
Okay. And have they been licensed all that
Yes.
time?
No, they have not been licensed all that time. Because Rocco's, I believe, after his first year, So he's only 3.5 now, so.
And Bella?
Bella's 3,
Are they both licensed now?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And are they both up to date on their shots?
Except for Rocco with the rabies, we have a scheduled appointment for Saturday.
Okay.
Have your dogs ever done any training?
Just by myself.
Scott, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. How, so you say you've had the dogs their entire lives. How
Yes.
old were they when you got them, and where?
Both,
where did you get them?
Rocco was 10 weeks old, Bella was 11 weeks old when I purchased her.
Okay. And where did you get them?
One's from, Rocco from Florida, and Bella was from Providence.
Were they through a breeder or a rescue?
Breeder.
Breeder.
So also, so that was how they got out on the 31st. We heard tonight from Ms. Thomas that there were several other citations for being out and loose. What occurred on those, even going back to the first incident in June of last year, when they were, when the woman picked them up and brought them to the vet clinic? How'd they get out that day?
Like I said, we used to keep them in the back towards where the pool was, and apparently, because they see rabbits, especially Rocco, they start digging. I wasn't aware that they had dug a hole. There's a plastic, I don't know, kind of a tool shed or whatever it is we put it in the corner, and I mean, that's where he was digging all along, you know, and you actually have to look for it to find out, like, where do they get out, where do they get out? And of course, when I found that, I replaced it with the fence, so that's where they were going. They were making their go-to to that same area consistently and getting out of the yard.
Yes, yes.
So I have one question, I have a couple. So my first question is that Rocco's rabies certificate expired on July 19th. The incident was on July 31st.
Mhm.
He would have been quarantined for the 10 days, which we'll say August 11th.
Mhm.
It's August 31st, and his rabies shot's not gonna get updated till Saturday. So why did that take so long?
Actually, they didn't
Because-
find out till Julie told me that the other day, you do realize that they're expired, and I said, no, I did not. She did bring it to my attention, and I got the appointment for Saturday.
So when did you find out that they had expired? Because you do get notices. You take it to Air Animal?
No. I do
Okay,
not.
'cause, but your vet usually sends you a notice or something.
Petco had said something to via email, yes.
Okay, so you do it to Petco?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I'm also a little concerned about, first of all, I'm a dog owner, so I understand dogs escaping. I've had an escape artist in my life. Luckily, you know, she was a hugger. But anyways, so I can understand a dog getting out. What I don't understand is, you had your dog found on Route 2,
Mhm.
approximately 3 miles from your house,
Mhm.
we're estimating. That's a pretty decent amount of time
Mhm.
that the dogs were gone before
Mhm.
obviously somebody noticed. And I know you said, you know, you've got your children are like 8, 11, and 12.
Yes.
Okay, have you talked to them about what's happening right now?
Yes, yeah.
Do they understand the potential decisions that could be made?
Yes, yeah.
So, why does Rocco like to jump into cars? That's interesting, and
Well,
Bella
because
doesn't seem to.
No, as a puppy, whenever we went out, whether we was camping, because we've always taken to the campsites with us, and every time we would just, come on, Rock, and open the door, and he would always jump into the vehicle.
Okay, but Bella doesn't like to do that.
No, Bella will not, unless you have to force her into it, pretty much.
Mr. Chair, I don't.
Yeah, you actually will get a chance to testify after. It's okay.
Does this, I know you say you're sorry, and I do believe you.
Mhm.
I don't really think that you wanted this scenario to happen.
Absolutely not.
But are you, how do I even ask this question, because it's just very disturbing. Have you thought about taking them to obedience classes? Obviously Rocco needs something that Rocco is not getting. We don't have the dog whisperer here, so we don't know what's Rocco's issue. You know, Rocco could be a teenager for all we know that's just annoyed. But have you thought about getting some obedience training?
Yes, my wife and I have talked about it, yes.
Okay.
There's a place in, I used to bring my other dogs there, it's in Sterling.
Mhm.
When I adopted a dog from the Sterling shelter, I learned of the gentleman actually, I think he trains the dogs, the canines for the Department of Corrections that I brought him to before. So, that's what we talked about.
We don't want them getting canine training.
No,
We
no,
want
it's
them
just
to get
it's
sit and be
obedience
pretty
school.
training.
It's
okay?
obedience school, yes.
Also, have you considered about getting one of those invisible fences that has a collar that would basically give some type of a shock to your dogs if the dog went to pass the fence?
I haven't looked into it, but it's something we can
Yeah,
look
so
into.
it is something to consider, because one, it's not just the fact that your dog is biting people.
Mhm.
Obviously, your dog is very, very aggressive for whatever reason. But your dogs keeps escaping, and they're getting pretty far, and I think they've been pretty lucky so far that they have not been hit by a car.
Mhm.
I think in some ways their size has probably been a favor to them, because they're probably seen a little sooner than a small dog would be, okay? But, you know, that in itself should be very concerning, that, you know, this needs to,
Yeah,
be
for the
put to
record,
bed.
that one isolated incident we were talking about, they have not gotten further since the fence has been up. They have been locally in the area, you know, not to negate any of, you know, what
Okay.
has transpired, but, you know, that issue, like I said, with the stockade, with the chain link fence, from the time that incident occurred, every time they've gotten out, it's because the gate has been left open. You know, of course, our responsibility, whether it's my kids or not, because they leave the gate open, the dogs will get out, they'll see a rabbit, they'll, you know,
Right.
unfortunately, you know, they've gotten out.
yeah. And then, right on the tip of my tongue, I had another question, and I think I just lost it. So,
Can you, sorry, can you just, when did the chain link fence go up exactly?
Right after the incident with the Route
So
2.
it's, okay.
this is-
The route
So
two.
then, so that was right after the June of 2020?
Yes.
The chain link went up?
Yeah.
And so each of the subsequent citation for being out running at large was a gate being left open?
Yes, one of the sliders being opened and to get into the backyard, and they were going towards that same hole that they had gotten out before. Since then, it's been, again, patched up with the stockade fence.
And then for these other incidents, did you patch the hole and then they redug it? Or?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But that's why I put up the chain link fence, I'm not the chain link fence, the stockade fence goes from across the pool, like I said, so they can't get into that area as well. So even now, if they get out, they get into the back of the yard, they're surrounded by a stockade fence.
When did the stockade fence go up?
The stockade fence has always been up.
It's always been up?
Yes.
Okay.
I just added an additional stockade fence on the left and right side of the pool,
Gotcha.
so they
Okay,
can't get to
thank
the area where they were digging out.
So it would be, to get to that, they'd have to go through the chain link fence, through
To
the stockade,
fence.
to get to another
Yes.
stockade?
so to our knowledge, so you've had the dogs 4 years, 3 years?
Yes,
okay?
yep.
And so, to our knowledge, it's been in the past year that these dogs have been brought to
Correct,
the town's attention.
correct.
Is there something specific that happened last year besides this all, you know, being a pandemic? That just caused all these changes, what sounds like changes?
Yeah, changes, I'm not sure, I mean, they see rabbits or squirrels, well,
Mhm.
Rocco does, you know, he'll see a rabbit and a squirrel, and even if I have him hold, he'll see, and
Mhm.
you know, I do have I walk him with the choke collar,
Mhm.
which kinda helps, because if he does see it, you know, he feels the jolt and he'll just
Right.
calm down, but.
So you also, so I know you mentioned that you've never experienced or witnessed them being aggressive towards anybody and that you have kids at your house. Given the age of your kids, I'm assuming that when other kids are at your house, you or your wife are there as well.
Correct, yes, always.
So the dogs wouldn't really be, other than these times that they're escaped,
Right, they would never.
they're not
have
around
attended.
other individuals.
Correct.
Like,
nothing right now at this time. Thank you.
Great.
Yes, Mr. Chair, through you, can I ask, have you seen the photos of the officers
No,
injured?
I have not, no.
Mr. Chair, can I?
Yes, please.
It's pretty severe, yeah.
Yeah, that's a severe injury. And in fact, he's been out of work for going on a month at this point, still going. I mean, so what is your response to seeing that?
I mean, there's, other than being apologetic, I am sorry, you know, I know that, it happens, you know, I'm in a line of work where I've been out because of, you know, not to mention talks with staff, I mean, with clients, but being out of work, I know it's a pain, it's kind of, you know, not what you want, but unfortunately, like I said, all I can say is that I'm sorry, you know.
Yes,
Can I
please.
ask a question to the officer? Just out of curiosity, God, I hope I say the name right, I think we all know that artery, is it your femoral artery? That would run in your leg, that would run in your leg, that we all know that if that one's punctured,
It'd be pretty severe, yeah.
how close, was that bite?
It was very close to my groin.
So it was pretty close to that artery that would be pretty much a life and death situation if that artery was punctured?
Yeah, potentially.
Okay. I just wanna kinda drive home was to, the bite was bad, but it, you know, a half an inch,
Yes.
either way, a centimeter, for all I know. Cause I'm not a doctor, so I don't know exactly where that artery would be, but it could have been an even worse scenario. Okay.
Question?
Yes.
In light of seeing the photos of the injuries and also hearing kind of the cumulative testimony here tonight, what changes are you thinking you would make going forward depending on what our decision is this evening?
Well, like I said, I make sure that I take them out, or my wife takes them out. She'll put them in the kennel. I walk the dogs, so I make sure that I walk them. And if Julie, like she said, she feels that the muzzle, you know, when I walk the dog, I don't think that I don't need the muzzle, but to make it safer for everybody else, I would put the muzzle on them.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
do you own the home?
Yes.
And, do you have any sort of rider on your homeowner's insurance
Homestead?
for injuries done by the dogs?
No, I don't.
Is your homeowner's insurance more expensive because of having Rottweilers?
I believe so, I'm not sure.
Are they aware you have the Rottweilers?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I
Anything
have.
else?
Thank you.
No questions at this moment.
Okay.
No further questions.
Okay, thank you. And then anybody else? Mrs. Ortiz, did you want?
I think he answered everything.
Okay.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay. So I think that concludes our testimony portion. Yes.
So through you, Mr. Chair, this is your opportunity now to deliberate and render a decision. And what you'll be talking about are two things. First, are one or both of the dogs nuisance or dangerous dogs, as those terms are defined? And second, if you answer the first question, yes, what, if any, remedy do you wish to impose? So, you know, let the three of you discuss amongst yourselves, and obviously I'm here to answer questions, but I would suggest, since it seems like the behavior of these two dogs is very different, that you probably should talk about them one at a time.
Yes. Okay.
Mr.
Thank
Chair,
you. Yes.
I forgot one quick question. Sir, are your dogs fixed?
No.
Neither one of them are.
Bella is, I'm sorry, Bella is, yes.
Bella is, but Rocco wasn't. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay. Do we want to do Bella first or Rocco first?
Yeah.
Let's do Bella
Okay.
Let's
first.
do Bella first.
I think I didn't hear anything to indicate that Bella is dangerous, per se.
I agree.
I agree. I think Bella just kind of just follows. Well, we're saying she follows. She could be the leader. I mean, she could be the
Yeah,
one
but she
happily
doesn't-
leading them out the yard and then,
Correct.
smelling the flowers as she goes along. I think as a precaution though, Bella should wear a muzzle. Because the muzzle isn't just for the dog to protect people from, necessarily from being bitten. It also, by someone seeing a muzzle, it also kind of lets you know to remember.
It's a visual aid.
Yeah.
You shouldn't touch dogs that aren't yours, because that's sometimes part of the problem. But but everybody was trying to rescue the dogs. But now Bella just sounds like she's just there along for the ride. And the fact that she's fixed is actually, in my opinion, a good thing.
Right.
I've always known female dogs, once they're fixed, they just really want to just stay home.
Yeah.
And I think then, Bella might just calm down, just, be fine. Right? So I think Bella's just a nuisance.
Yes.
I agree, and you make a good point on the muzzle being a visual for other individuals to just kind of know to keep their distance. So I would support that as a remedy. I guess the first question is, are they declare a nuisance dog or a dangerous dog? Correct. That's the first thing we have to do.
That's correct. And so I would suggest that you hold off on remedy because the remedy might overlap. I don't know what you're
Okay.
intending to do with respect to the other dog, but my suggestion would be let's do the designations first and then talk about remedy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we're all in agreement on Bella, that
Yes.
a nuisance would
Yes.
be the more fitting term.
Agreed.
Okay.
So through you, Mr. Chair, does someone want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that Bella be designated as a nuisance dog.
I'll second.
Does this need to be a roll call or just a?
No, this is an in-person meeting, so you don't need to do a roll.
Okay. All those in favor of Bella being deemed a nuisance?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Then we'll move on to Rocco. Okay.
Rocco has issues. Rocco needs counseling.
Rocco does. I have a lot of concerns for Rocco. In the last year and 2 months, it's been what, 4 bites?
Yeah, 3 in one day.
And 3 in one day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if because these dogs were from breeders, right?
Correct.
Right, so they could have been this dog could be overbred. This dog, for all we know, could have something actually medically wrong, and it's one of those scenarios that we may never find out. But Rocco, we'll just say, is in a bad mood. And Rocco being fine at home when there's kids at home, I think, is because Rocco's in his own territory. So that even if the parents walk away from the dogs and the kids because they're all in the backyard and they've gone into the house and everything, the dogs seem to be fine. And I think because they're in their own familiar surroundings. So I think when you get them out of their familiar surroundings too, I think that causes Rocco maybe to act up even more. Rocco obviously is willing to go for a ride, but then finds doesn't like the driver.
Well-
This is very concerning, especially when you read that later on they found the dogs being fed by other people, which of course we all know you shouldn't go near a strange dog, but we've all done it in our life. But I am very concerned about Rocco's escalation.
Sorry, if I may.
Yeah.
Just to kind of discuss your point about wanting to go for a ride, though, what's concerning to me is that, from my understanding, he'll jump in the car even without being invited in.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, and that is really, I think, what concerns me the most about this.
I think if we were to remove 2 of the 4 incidents were automobile related, the first one being Route 2 and then this other person who works at Gage. But two of them were not.
Right.
And even the three that were minor, for one thing, but the aggressiveness and the injuries to the officer and the fact that he bit him twice. You know, I can understand when a dog snaps and nips at somebody. That's almost understandable, but the degree to which he bit the officer.
And it
Is
seems
what's
like
really concerning.
whenever somebody comes at Rocco this way, you know, because everyone has said, well, I was trying to get to the collar, so you're coming towards the face. And so this, for some reason, I think is scaring Rocco. So again, not the dog whisperer, I don't know what's going on, but Rocco is not safe to be around people.
I agree.
I agree. And though there's things in place, the multiple fences, it's just hard to, you know, the slider seems to consistently be an issue, and just him getting out. I'm worried about the next person that goes for his collar.
My overall concern with is you look at the list of instances, and to your point, it's within a year and 2 months, and it's continuous, you know, just getting out of the yard. I mean, it seemed only a matter of time before something was going to happen. So I'll clarify. I asked about whether they were a breeder, from a breeder or a rescue. I have 2 rescue dogs myself. They look cute, but unless they know you, they can be aggressive, especially one of them. And we mitigate that. We constantly are managing that and nervous about that. And we've had dogs ourselves in the past who've gotten out of our yard, and we've always been more worried about the interaction with other people. One we didn't really have to worry about, but another one was older and had some issues here and there. And my concern is that it seems like the owner just doesn't, you know, the fact that they got out so many times in such a short period of time is really concerning to me.
Agreed.
Years ago, I had a beagle and a terrier, and I would, you know, be walking it, and you know, kids were around. I was like, hey, "Can we pet the dog?" He's like, "Don't you dare go near that terrier." Terrier wasn't going to do anything to him, but the terrier was a yapper.
Yeah.
And just scare the kids. The beagle now on laying on its back with its belly, like, "Yes, please pet me." You know, I mean, the beagle would have led the burglar to the silverware, for God's sakes, you know. But, you know, my point being is that, you know, dogs can be different, somewhat, you know, just like a human, and they react to things. So, I don't know what's got Rocco so stirred up, but something is not right with Rocco.
I agree.
So, I guess, through you, Mr. Chair, if you please, it appears to me that Rocco clearly fits the definition of dangerous dog.
Agreed.
As my opinion is, you would be justified in making that finding. So does someone want to make a motion
Yes.
to that effect?
I'll make a motion to declare Rocco a dangerous dog.
Second.
All those in favor of declaring Rocco a dangerous dog?
Aye.
Opposed?
So the reason that I had suggested that you wait to discuss Bella's remedy until you made a decision with respect to Rocco is that, you know, now you have a decision to make with respect to Rocco, and that is, it is available to you as a remedy to order that Rocco be euthanized. However, there are other options as well. The statute provides a list of those options, which I know you all have in front of you. You know, some of those, and these are, you know, it's not an either or type of thing. You can order any combination of these. One, that the dog be humanely restrained. 2, that the dog be confined to the premises of the owner in a secure enclosure. 3, that when it is removed, it is humanely muzzled and restrained with a chain. 4, that the owner provide documented proof of insurance of no less than $100,000 for claims resulting from the acts of the dog. 4, that the owner provide the licensing authority with identification either by photograph, video, or microchip. And finally 6, that the dog be fixed. So, as I said, you can, euthanization is one option here, or you can choose from a combination of these menu items, if you will, something that is not necessarily listed here, but in my experience is a common remedy that owners will frequently agree to, and that is that the dog undergo training, to try to address some of these issues and to make sure that that the behavior doesn't continue. Another thing that you can think about here is there some sort of mechanism that can act as a fail-safe so that gates and doors don't continue to be left open? So, for example, with respect to gates, right, they have automatically closing hinges. It's harder to think of something with respect to a slider, but I would imagine that maybe there is something that can be done to prevent that slider from being kept open, so that these sort of, these errors of not paying attention don't continue to happen.
Thoughts?
Well, I see the primary root cause of why we're here is the fact that the dogs are getting out. So I would personally think that they should be confined to the premises unless they are properly restrained and muzzled. And I would almost even add just by Mr. Ortiz himself, since he seems to be the one that can handle the dogs.
I think training is in order too.
Training, I also think, yeah.
That has to, because because for one thing, I mean, you need these dogs trained so that if, just because they do find a hole, that they don't actually go through it.
Well, and
Training doesn't always
but
remedy
it helps,
that,
it
though.
helps, it helps,
Didn't help me.
if we're gonna go with the route of recommendation of training, I would think that the town needs to be provided with the information from the trainer, and it needs to be a reputable and accredited trainer, and one who specifically can work with large dogs with aggressive tendencies. I think the confining thing is good, but I also feel like this dog just needs to be muzzled 24/7. Like, if just because the slider has been the issue in getting out, and there's nothing you can do to the dog to prevent that from happening.
Right.
That's human error. So like you said, maybe in your family's home, like you only use the front door to access the backyard, so the slider's never opened. But I mean, that's hard to.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question to Mr. Ortiz? So, the room that has the 2 sliders, is that like a 3-season porch or something
Yes.
like that? And is there another door between the porch and the main part of the house?
So we'll go from our kitchen into that area, then we have the slider to where the dogs are, and then the
Yeah.
slider to the main.
So the 3-season room is open to the kitchen, there's not a door in between?
Yes, yes it is.
Yes, there is a door.
Yes, there
And
is.
what kind of door is that?
It's a regular metal door with the glass,
That just opens like this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, one thought might be that, that any time that the dogs go into that 3-season room, that be considered almost outside, right? That they be muzzled for any time they're beyond the point of the kitchen.
Do you usually, Mr. Ortiz, leave that metal door closed, or is it open most of the time?
it varies,
Season?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If it's hot, but when they're in the back, they're in their crates,
Great.
their dog crates.
Seasonal. So great.
Are the crates on the porch or in the kitchen?
They're in the 3-season porch.
They're a lot of
Is that where they sleep?
Yes.
On the training, I believe there are trainers that specialize in assessing aggressive dogs. I would stipulate that they would go to that to at least get an assessment, and then that assessment be provided to the town.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I think that we're gonna go this route of, the insurance is another important thing. This was a really bad day for this dog. And if he gets out and attacks somebody again, I mean, I'm worried that it's gonna be a kid, or just, it's gonna be even worse.
Mm-hmm. I think having the insurance would actually be best for you also, because if, God forbid, something else happens, at least you're gonna have insurance to help you out, otherwise you'd really be in a mess. But I think too, while we're trying to come up with this remedy, I think it's very important that we also stress that, this is Rocco's Hail Mary. Rocco will get another one.
Understood.
Alright, so we said insurance, muzzle, as soon as they're into the 3-season room, because then they're starting to be considered outside. Getting the training, reporting to the town, do we wanna set a time frame as to like actionable, like, you know, within 60 days we need to know, you know, 30 days we need to know this, 60 days we need to know this, or something like that?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, on a trainer, I would almost say 30 days, just to at least get an assessment to the
Mhm.
town on the aggressive behavior.
Mhm.
What I would suggest through you, Mr. Chair, is that as the first step on the training part, that you have, like we can set up milestones, so identify the trainer, right, within a certain amount of time, like 2 weeks, and then, you know, within 2 weeks of that or 30 days of that, have an assessment and a recommendation submitted to the animal control officer and the board. And then the order would be to carry out the training plan recommended by the trainer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the trainer, I would suggest, be subject to the animal control officer's
I
approval.
was just gonna ask Ms. Thomas, do you have a list of trainers that?
I don't, I'd have to look and find if there is any large ones. Did you, Scott, did you know of one?
Because as I said, I have rescues who can get a little crazy at times. I did find one, I didn't engage with them at all, but I did find one out in Leominster. I'm just searching for, you know, kind of dog training for aggressive dogs, because I'm sure, you know, like, in my opinion, there's a difference in training for just like listening to sit, you know, lay down, versus kind of getting an assessment of a dog and kind of the training that would go into, I guess, getting them used to other people without being aggressive,
Right.
if they find themselves in this situation again.
I know you mentioned with female dogs, once they're fixed, they tend to chill out, and I've heard the same for male dogs, so
Male
see
dogs
it
do
as
tend to,
a
yeah.
option here,
I
to have
think, well, especially if
Rocco
Rocco's
fixed.
getting loose, I mean, Rocco, I don't know if Rocco's got a girlfriend. And I don't think anyone wants to know.
Right.
So I think that is probably a good idea, because they do tend to calm down low. Because I've had male dogs too, and they do tend to calm down low.
Through you, Mr. Chair, can I ask another question to Mr. Ortiz? Do you breed Rocco?
No.
Alright, so, so part one of this is going to be training. So, within 2 weeks, identify a trainer, to be approved by the animal control officer. Within 30 days of the approval, have the dog evaluated by the trainer and have the trainer submit a report and recommended training plan. And then comply with the training plan and have the trainer provide regular reports to the animal control officer.
Yes.
Does that seem reasonable, those timeframes and those requirements?
I think it does.
I'd also like to discuss about giving Julie a little leeway, that in her conversations, you know, if she needs to like make an extension, like a couple of days or something, to any deadline, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
based on her
At her
conversations, that she
discretion.
has it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanna make sure
Absolutely.
she has the authority to, as needed, to go from there.
Okay. We can add that in.
You know, cause we don't, you know, cause, you know, it might be a reasonable scenario or something, you know.
Okay. All right, so that's part one, training. Then part two, under the options for dangerous dogs, Roman numeral 2 states that the dog be confined to the premises of its owner or keeper, either indoors or outdoors, properly sheltered from the elements, in a securely enclosed and locked pen or dog run area, and if the enclosure has no floor, with the sides not less than 2 feet embedded into the ground. I would suggest that you issue that as an order, with the additional requirement that the current pen would be sufficient if the sides are embedded into the ground, because it doesn't sound like they are at this point. And further, that the inner door to the kitchen be kept closed with an automatic spring hinge, so that when a person walks through it, it automatically closes behind them. And then the same with the gate that leads from the backyard into the front yard.
I agree.
Yes.
And then I would suggest Roman numeral 4, proof of insurance.
Could we, I'm sorry, should we also do number 3?
Yes.
Just that when the dogs are removed from the premises, they're muzzled. And
Yes.
I think the recommendation, at least until training is completed, is that Mr. Ortiz, it sounds like he's the only one who could handle Rocco especially, is the person that's walking the dogs, if they're off premises.
Now, since we're talking about muzzling, do you want the dog to be muzzled any time that it is beyond the 4 walls of the home, including on the porch?
I think any place where the dog can escape and run freely,
So,
it definitely should be
I would agree with
muzzled.
that, because I think that's the biggest concern for me is
Yeah.
with the,
Yeah.
the ability of the dogs to escape from inside the 3-season room seems to be a constant issue, so I would ask that they be muzzled.
Yeah, with the exception of when they're sleeping in their crates.
Correct.
Because they sleep on that 3-season porch.
Right,
So
right.
that
Okay,
is
yeah,
it, just
that's
with that
okay, yeah.
stipulation.
I know people sometimes get upset when I have to put a muzzle on their dog. It's really not that bad. When my terrier, he was 17 when he finally went over the bridge. But in that last year, he started getting a bit aggressive, okay? And I wasn't ready yet to put him down and was in a bit of a denial, so I got him a muzzle. And what I did was I just kind of would kiss him as I put it on, so it got to the point where he liked it. And I put it on because I just kind of made it a special moment. So, you know, you can do that and allow the dog not to feel like it's necessarily being punished, so that it also takes acceptance to it, so that it makes life easier for everybody too, you know? Because it is, people get very upset when they have to put a muzzle on, but it actually is gonna benefit the dog.
And I would imagine that's something the trainer could address as well.
Right. Mhm.
All right, and so then insurance, how much time do you think is a reasonable amount of time to procure the insurance?
30 days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
30 days,
agree,
yeah.
30 days.
30 days. Okay, and then having the dog fixed,
Yes.
okay, how much time do you think is reasonable for that?
That would be, you know, work a little bit more with the vet and everything, so I would say
60
you know,
days.
60 days, yeah.
Okay, and although this seems to go without saying, I would suggest you make it part of your order, since it's been an issue, that the dogs be licensed and vaccinated in a timely manner
Yeah.
in accordance with the schedule required by the town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Do you want me to go through the list again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
please.
Okay. All right, so, the first, 3 parts of this refer to training. So, within 2 weeks from today, Mr. Ortiz will identify a qualified trainer, acceptable to and approved by the animal control officer. Within 30 days of the animal control officer's approval, Mr. Ortiz will have the dog evaluated by the trainer, and have the trainer submit a report and recommended training plan.
Could, I'm sorry, continue. I
Okay.
had a different thought.
And then upon receipt of the training plan, comply with whatever requirements the trainer recommends. The next is that the animal control officer can grant reasonable extensions of these deadlines in her discretion. Next, the board chooses option 2, which is that the dog be confined to the premises of its owner or keeper, either indoors or outdoors, properly sheltered from the elements, in a securely enclosed and locked pen, which is the pen that is currently on the property, provided that the sides of the pen are embedded not less than 2 feet into the ground, and that the inner kitchen door be kept closed and fitted with an automatic spring-loaded hinge, and likewise that the gate to the front yard also be fitted with an automatic spring-loaded hinge. Next, the board chooses option 3, which is that when the dog is removed from the premises of the owner or keeper, the dog shall be securely and humanely muzzled and restrained with a chain or other tethering device, having a minimum strength of 300 pounds and not exceeding 3 feet in length, and the dog can only be walked by Mr. Ortiz. That the dog be muzzled anytime it is outside, including when it is on the 3-season porch, except when it's sleeping in its crate, provided that the sliding doors are closed. Next, that Mr. Ortiz provide documented proof of no less than $100,000 insurance for claims resulting from intentional or unintentional acts of the dog. Proof of insurance to be provided within 30 days. Next, that the dog be fixed within 60 days. And finally, that the dog be licensed and vaccinated in accordance with the schedule established by the town.
I think that covers it.
Okay. So these are all conditions that apply to Rocco. Which of these conditions, if any, should also be applied to Bella?
So I think it should be definitely considered that maybe Bella gets some training too, so that Bella doesn't develop into a Rocco, because unfortunately Bella has Rocco as an example, okay? Bella does need to be kept confined. If they're being walked together, it might be a good idea for Bella also to be wearing a muzzle, because not just
Yep.
because of maybe Bella doing something, but to keep Rocco calm. Because if Rocco sees it's wearing a muzzle and Bella's not wearing a muzzle, believe it or not, they will notice that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so just to kind of keep it on an even keel. But I think if we can get Rocco to calm down, then you know, Bella might not be quite the nuisance.
I'm
So then
assuming-
it's really everything, what about the being muzzled when in the pen area?
No, I think when Bella's being walked, Bella should have a muzzle.
Yeah.
But I don't think Bella necessarily would need it. However, I do recommend that Mr. Ortiz, you know, keep an eye on that, because again, Rocco could get jealous of Bella. So be prepared to put a muzzle on Bella at the same time, just so that there's not that little jealousy going on. Okay.
And I'm assuming that the insurance policy would cover both dogs, or?
I would assume.
I mean, yeah.
I would assume. And likewise, the fence and the
Yep.
hinges just has to be done, so that would
Right.
apply to both
Yeah.
dogs, and the licensing and vaccinations would have
Yeah.
to apply to both dogs.
Right.
Okay, so it's really, everything would apply to Bella as well, except for the muzzling when inside the pen on the property.
Right.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay, so, I mean, I will reduce all of this to writing in the form of a letter. Perhaps that can be signed by, the town manager. But do I have a motion to accept these conditions?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, and, so, through you, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to, summarize and read a provision, of the statute into the record, specifically for the Ortiz's, benefit. So, the dog Bella has been found a nuisance dog, and the dog, Rocco has been found a dangerous dog. And they're subject to conditions, and you'll get written notice of these conditions and things that have to be done within certain periods of time. And what I'd like to read to you is from the statute what the consequences are of not meeting these conditions, which would include if the dogs get out again. So the statute states, if an owner or keeper of a dog is found in violation of an order issued under this section, the dog shall be subject to seizure and impoundment by law enforcement or animal control. If the keeper of the dog is in violation, all reasonable efforts shall be made by the seizing authority to notify the owner of such seizure. The owner or keeper shall be ordered to immediately surrender to the licensing authority the license and tags in the person's possession, if any, and the owner or keeper shall be prohibited from licensing a dog in the Commonwealth for a period of 5 years. So what that means is that if there is a violation, then the dog is not only subject to seizure, but it cannot be returned to you and will most likely be euthanized. And in addition to these, there are other sections of the statute that authorize on the filing of a criminal complaint and substantial fines, I believe of up to $5,000, and imprisonment. So this is a very serious order, and I would encourage you to, really study these conditions and work with the animal control officer, to make sure that you can meet these deadlines.
Thank you.
I hope everything goes well, so that Brock and Bella have long, happy lives with you. But please take this extremely seriously. And just know that sitting here at this table to even make these decisions is not pleasant. So we don't want to have to make a more severe one. All right.
Anything else?
No, nothing else,
No.
thank you.
So I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Procedural question, we're technically a public hearing, do we have to close the public hearing?
I would suggest that the motion be to close the public hearing and adjourn.
Okay, I make a motion to close the public hearing and adjourn for the evening.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned.